Hi, my name is Michelle and I am the owner of MBM's Simplicity, which is a future business that I plan on setting up. So hopefully I can get that off the ground very soon. For right now, this is my first tutorial on YouTube, and so there will be many more to come. As for today, it will be a flag, a Puerto Rican flag, but you can make this flag into anything you want. I'm just showing you some tips and tricks on how to do certain flags. Now, also keep in mind that you will see me change different clothes, or the settings in the background are different, and that's because I've done this cup twice. So I want to do my very best that you guys see everything I do and how I do it. And if I miss anything, please go ahead and leave me a comment and I'll try and reply as best as I can. Also, you can hit subscribe so you can catch up onto any video tutorials that I'll have in the future. So again, I hope you enjoy this tutorial. All right, so I have my 30-ounce skinny in my hand, and you can see how shiny this is. So we need to get rid of that shininess. This is called prepping. And the reason for the prepping is because we need to adhere anything that's on this cup to stick to that cup. Now the sand block is a 220 grit and a 320 grit on the other side, which I prefer. It's convenient. It is right there if I need it. So sand the cup, and then you'll start noticing that it's not shiny anymore. And that's what you want. You want it to not be so shiny. And you're gonna have your block look a little black, and that's okay. That's what's coming off of that cup, and that's what you want. And then if you want your ends, the end of your trims to be shiny, then you need to go ahead and taper that off, the top and the bottom. But for this flag, I prefer to go ahead and do the whole entire cup. Now my hairs are standing on end. Just the sound of it really irks me. But it'll be well worth it once it's done. All right, so the next thing we need to do is wash this cup. Everything looks not so shiny, and that's kind of how I want it. So I know everything will adhere to that. So we'll wash it with some Dawn soap to make sure there's no grease or anything on it. All right, so my cup is prepped and ready to go. We're gonna do the Tack-it Method next. I'm going to add a little bit of the Tack-it Method into my container, and I'll add a little bit of water. Some people will do a 50-50 ratio, 50 on the Tack-it and 50 on the water, but I prefer not to do that. I'll just add a little bit of water. All right, that was fun. Now we're gonna go on to the next step. It's the glitter. I have this champagne silver, even though it looks like a gold kind of, and this you can find in any glitter store. Now I also have this from bulkglitters.com, and it is called Century Silver, and I'm gonna be mixing this holographic glitter in with my champagne. Now I do this because it gives it that extra pretty little sparkle to the cup, and it really works well together. So I would recommend that you do this, but you don't have to. You can change the color of this tumbler to any color you want. It could be just plain old holographic, or you can do a regular glitter color to it. But just remember that it does look different. It's not that sparkly shine as, you know, what the holographic looks like compared to just a basic color on a glitter. So once you mix your glitter up, you want to go ahead and have a container that has a lid, so that way you can shake it really good. Now containers with lids are even better, because that way you can save your glitter for a future project that you want to do. All right, it's all mixed up, and look at my results. That's holographic mixed with just basic glitter. It just pops. I love it. All right, here's a tip. Now another reason why you want to use these containers with lids is also that you can limit yourself from how much glitter you're pouring onto your cups. You want to make sure that you pour just enough, but you're not wasting so much either. So limit yourself in these containers by pouring your glitter and assuming how much you're going to be using on your tumblers. Do not overdo it and throw your glitter away. All right, so the fun part's coming up, and we need to get our base ready. Now, I used a paintbrush and started using the Tack-it adhesive and placed it all over this cup. I mean, I'm painting everything on this cup from head to toe. I want to make sure I don't leave any open spots, or the glitter will not adhere to it. And then you are going to see this milky finish, but it's not completely done yet until it dries. And when it does dry, it takes anywhere from maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and you'll start seeing it clear. You'll still see some of the adhesive on that cup, which is fine. That's what we want. But it will end up showing clear. It will not show onto your glitter or your cup or your design. The glitter will take care of all that, and you'll see the difference. Now, because it is late at my time, it's kind of hard to process all the words at this moment, which is sad. But once it does dry clear, it'll be fine. Now, another tip I suggest is I did not place a PVC pipe in my pool noodle. So that was a big no-no. I accidentally touched the cup while it was slightly wet. And as I placed the glitter, you can see that the glitter did not adhere on the 2 fingerprints that I did on this cup, which I really hate myself for doing that. But luckily, I was able to cover it with vinyl, so thank goodness. All right, so I am done. I'm going to go ahead and let this sit and dry. Don't forget to get the bottom of your cup, and everything looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and let this dry for about 10 to 15 minutes, and I'll be right back. All right, we're gonna go ahead and do my favorite part. Now, you notice it's clear. That means it's dry, it's ready to go. So I went ahead and accidentally put my finger on there like I told you, and you'll see it now once I put that glitter on there. But first, let me get my PVC pipe, because I can't live without that. I need to have that PVC pipe so I can maneuver the whole cup. Now, I told you that I will be using a certain amount of glitter so I don't have to waste so much, and that's exactly what I'm going to show you here. You're going to start seeing me rub it off because I only have a little bit of glitter. I'm saving money for doing this, and you need to pretty much be consistent with this throughout your entire glitter projects. And you'll teach yourself, you know what, I need a certain amount of glitter, that's all I'm going to use, and that's all should go on this cup. You see me rubbing it, it's falling onto the paper. I'm going to put it back into my container and put it back on the cup, and you'll see that actually this little bit of glitter helped a long way. I was able to save a ton of money for not spending or dumping glitter on top of this cup, and sometimes you can actually contaminate. And when you rub some of this glitter, some of it is going to come out bumpy, and that's something you don't want to put back into your glitter shakers. Not at all. That's the least thing you want to do. So that means you got to throw it away or use it for a different type of project. So for this, I suggest you use just a little bit. Don't use too much glitter, especially on the Tack-it Method. Rub it off, put it back on your cup, and honestly, you just barely have nothing left. All right, so another thing I want to go ahead and tell you is that when I placed the glitter on top of this tumbler, it was gorgeous. I did not want to rub it off. I really didn't. I wanted to keep it just straight on, to have the glitter straight onto that cup. Now you can do that, absolutely, but I suggest that you only do half of the cup, because remember, you're putting your flag on the other side, and you don't want it to raise up too much. You want to keep this tumbler as flat as possible. So the less glitter, the better, unless it's for the flag part. That's the part where you're going to have to add a little extra glitter to it, because you do have chunky in there as well, in order for you to in order for you to keep it as thin as possible. You don't want a big, bulky looking tumbler. All right, so while I'm letting that kind of marinate for a little bit, I need to clean this table. So I do not want to contaminate any of the glitter with my reds, whites, and blues. So I need to clean off this table, and I suggest that anytime that you're going to do a tumbler and there's going to be different colors involved, you want to clean off your table. As you can see, I have a glitter vacuum, and it works pretty good actually, and this is what you want to purchase. I think it is worth buying. You can find, I think I found this one in Joann's Fabric. I will put a description of where I got this vacuum and share it with you guys. But yeah, make sure that you clean your area. Try not to have too many glitters. Of course, glitter is very fine, very small, and there's going to be glitter in lots of places. But we want to minimize that, minimize the contamination of one color from another. All right, real quick, let's go ahead and once you're done with your Tack-it Method, let's go ahead and do that clear spray paint so nothing happens to what we just created. All right, guys, in this part, there is a lot of information. So I'm going to try and hit every single part of this information because you want to learn. And I want you to learn, and that's what I love to do, is teach. So I might not be the best, but I definitely did a pretty cup, so I think I know what I'm doing. All right, so I bought this cheap vinyl. It's sold in the dollar stores or at Walmart. It's one of those that you put inside your cabinet, and that's what I used. Now, on the description below, I will go ahead and leave the link to how I created the vinyl for this flag. Now, you'll have to be a Cricut user in order for it to cut just as I have it now. All right, so once your Cricut has cut the flag onto your vinyl, you place the first vinyl on the top, and then you place the lines over your first vinyl. Now, what I like about this is that the center of the vinyl, the line of the vinyl is cut, and it also cut the part of the star, which helped me tremendously. I needed that to happen, so that way I know that that one line is perfectly straight down the cup. And then I placed the other strip that has a cutout star as well, and I placed it next to it like I'm doing right here, and I want it next to each other perfectly. And then the third one, I laid it right next to it, so I eyeballed it and make sure that it's very close to that center line. All right, and then on the other side, you do the exact same thing. Just line them up right next to each other as close as possible. All right, we're gonna go ahead and draw our edges. Now, we do need an X-Acto knife because remember we overlapped the vinyl for the lines on top of the triangle vinyl. So we're gonna use my fingernail to do the impression of that triangle, and I can see it that way better, and I know where to cut. So you wanna cut that overlapping vinyl, and then you wanna draw it. So I'm gonna kind of do a speed through this because it's a long process. All right, so once I finish drawing around my vinyls, I go ahead and remove the vinyls. I want to make sure that I can visually see where the lines are at, so I can go ahead and start placing my double-sided tape. All right, we're gonna go ahead and start doing the double-sided tape, and I wanted a nice clean edge, so I decided to do a smaller double-sided tape, the smallest that I had. You want to use your X-Acto knife so you can get a nice clean edge on every angle, and then continue to do that as the letter V throughout the whole center of your design. All right, I removed the star eventually, and you'll see when I do remove it. It was in the way. I thought it was going to be more difficult to get the double-sided tape to turn it into a star. It just wasn't going to look right. So I decided to remove it and just continue it on all the way throughout the center of my design. All right, so as for your stars or any design that you put in the center of your flags, you want to keep those you want to go ahead and keep that shape, because I figured out eventually what to do in order to keep the look of my shape in the center of my tumbler. And then I'll show you on this video on how I did that, how I accomplished a perfect straight star. Okay, so as for your line, which is next, we are going to do 2 double-sided tapes for each line. Now you want to make sure that the 2 double-sided tapes for that one line is close as possible to being perfect in the length and the width. So I've noticed that if you leave a small gap, then when you come to put glitter on top of your double-sided tape, it's going to leave a small indentation in the middle. And that's fine, because we can use Mod Podge to go ahead and fill that up. That's not going to be a problem. But I want to get it as close as possible, and it actually helps a ton. So try to keep your double-sided tape close to each other, and they're about the same size. And if not the same size, then try to make it as close to the size of your lines. Now remember, you're going to see me overlap on top of the triangle that I laid down already. Remember, the X-Acto knife, we've got to recut it anyways, and the triangle double-sided tape that I put there will be removed with the adhesive that's already laid on top. All right, so now I'm gonna place my star vinyl on top of the tumbler, and I'm gonna put it where it needs to go. And I'm going to use my X-Acto knife and cut around it. And then once I peel all of the double-sided tape layering on top, I'm going to place the star back on there so that way the glitter doesn't adhere to that area. Okay, so now that I'm done with that, I'm gonna go ahead and use my X-Acto knife and cut along the edges. And you don't need to do this for the lines, just the triangle part. For this part, I'm using my squeegee so that way I can make sure that the tape is fully flat, as well as for the adhesive part is very locked in tight to my tumbler. And again, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my area. I wanna make sure there's no extra debris of glitter anywhere since I'm setting up for my first color of glitter, and you've got to train yourself to do this at all times. And I'll just go ahead and start peeling away only the triangle part. All right, so like I said earlier, I wanted to go ahead and try to practice on this cup, kind of do some different things that's going to make it easier for everyone. But I was trying to see if I can not pull the stars protective double-sided tape that's on top and just cut around it, but that didn't happen. It actually got pulled all the way around. It was pulling, it was nudging, I was trying to flatten it. It just got kind of frustrating, so I pulled the whole thing off, and I'll find another way on how I can preserve that star. All right, let's start glittering. That's what I want to do. At this point, I placed my star decal on top of the already exposed double-sided tape. So it is sticky. I'm making sure it's nice and flat. Nothing's going to get to this bottom of that star. So take your blue glitter or any color glitter depending on your flag and just sprinkle it on there. And I promise you it'll stick. Now keep in mind as you actually go ahead and place the glitter, try not to get it on the rest of the double-sided tape. So if you're shaking it off from side to side like I did there, you want to go ahead and try maybe placing the cup upwards so it'll fall down or technically up from the cup. There will be glitter sliding and sticking in between your double-sided tape lines. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as possible. All right, so I forgot to go ahead and record this part, but I went ahead and Mod Podged over the exposed glitter and added extra glitter to that. All right, so the next thing we need to do is brush off any excess glitter. You want to get in between those areas that has not been exposed by the double-sided tape. There's definitely going to be glitter stuck in between them. You want to grab any little needle, anything that you can do to remove it. You're not going to be able to remove 100% of it, but you want to get as much as you can. And as you can see, I have my cup tilted upwards so it does not spill anywhere else except for onto that blue glitter or onto my paper. So make sure you tilt your cup upwards and brush down. If the glitter is on the other end that's stuck onto the double-sided tape that we did not expose on those lines, then do it the other way around. You just don't want to have the glitter travel and get stuck onto any other side or any part of this cup. So keep that in mind. All right, so once you guys are done cleaning off the glitter or removing any excess glitter, go ahead and spray clear your cup. You want to make sure that your glitter stays in place. It is not moving anywhere. You want to do about 3 coats on this. Each coat, you want to wait about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending how hard you hit it. Try not to do too thick of a coat, but you also don't want too thin of a coat. So once this step is done and it's dry, I will go ahead and do the next step, which is the red and white parts of the flag. You guys, this was a long one. I have to admit, you know, it does take a long time to make, but it is well worth it. I know my customer definitely enjoys how this cup turned out. And if you've never had a Hispanic customer, this would be one way to bring or draw in that type of community and really make a revenue out of it. So if you like this tutorial, please subscribe. There will be other future tutorials on different ways of making cups, methods that I'm trying. I'm it's kind of a hit and miss, which that's important because I want to try something new and different, and then share it with you guys. All right, and let's go ahead and continue with part 2 of this tutorial. Thank you for watching.